This video is dedicated to Antonio Rouse. Antonio, thank you. Sythis versus Urza, seeing a lot of Urza around today. Two-lander with a bit of ramp. Yeah, two pieces of ramp will keep our opponents on the play so they can hold up counter magic for us annoyingly. And already going for an Urza's Bauble, drawing on the next turn. They are up to 5 cards in hand. Otawara is the land that they played. Okay, on thin ice, so getting out a snow land is probably a good idea then. Not sure if we've got the jewel in here. Yes, we do. In fact, it's the only snow. Yeah, need to replace the basics with snow lands apparently. Okay, and it's a try hard turn 1 or turn 2 strip mine. Mem Knight from our opponent. Actually switches off the on thin ice annoyingly. Drew into Herald of the Pantheon, by the way. Getting hit for 1 by the Mem Knight, and hopefully our opponent gets punished for strip mining so early. We do have another land to make after this. Do we go for the Sanctum Weaver here? Yeah, I think getting the Summoning Sickness away from the Sanctum Weaver is better than the Sythis, because this taps for X mana, where X is the number of enchantments we control, which will be 2 next turn if we get Sythis down. And there, of course, they get themselves into a mana vault. Need double blue for the Urza. That's a Khalni Heart Expedition, probably a good thing to get out this turn, I would think. Play the Wooded Bastion, make Selesnya mana with the filter land, play Sythis, and then Herald of the Pantheon takes us into a 1 mana Khalni Heart, so tap that for green, play Herald of the Pantheon. And then is it actually worth getting this down so that they can't counter any of our stuff? Yeah, that's probably a better idea, isn't it? Holding off for now. We don't have lands to put into this anyway at the moment. Drawing into another Enchantress in Verduran Enchantress. Gaining 2 life from our 2 creatures. Yeah, I'd be much happier if I had snow basics. I actually changed the basics just before this game because I didn't think I actually needed the snows in there. And yeah, apparently I had the snows in there for a very specific reason, so need to change that back round again, but I'd be a lot happier if we had access to this. There's an Ornithopter they've got now. Okay, Sigil of the Empty Throne. We have 1, 2, 3 enchantments in play. Yeah, so even though we're not going to trigger the Sigil of the Empty Throne, we're best going for the ramp first on the Overgrowth. It costs 1 less, don't forget, thanks to the Herald of the Pantheon, which is actually doing some nice ramp for us. Draw into Solitary Confinement, so then we can tap this down for a bunch of white. Actually, might be worth going for a 1 mana Khalni Heart, although I'd rather do that after the Sigil, so yeah, we'll tap this down for white, play a 4 mana Sigil of the Empty Throne, and that does get us into a land for this turn, so now we can drop the land, play Verduran Enchantress, and then play a 1 mana Khalni Heart Expedition. That'll draw us 2 cards on every enchantment we cast. Can't counter any of our stuff, don't forget, thanks to the Destiny Spinner. Not sure they could have countered anyway. So for 1 mana on a Khalni Heart Expedition, we get a 4/4 Flying Angel with Vigilance. Oh no, it doesn't have Vigilance, just a 4/4 Flyer. And then we will draw a card to both of our Enchantresses, gain 2 life as well, get into another Enchantress, and a Mana Tripler. And I can't say I feel too bad about it, going up against an Urza player. Well, obviously not a very fair matchup this one. So swinging with everything. Only got a 1/1 in the way of us that we're really worried about. Taking 4 damage and blocking the Sythis. Okay, still not managing to get into a land. They're getting pretty unlucky. We get a mana doubler as well as a tripler. So we'll just go for the Nyxbloom Ancient straight away. Cantrips twice, gains us life twice and makes an angel. And that's when our opponent decides to scoop. It was just about to get fun. Yeah, each of our lands tapping for triple mana there, so probably would have got down the Primeval Bounty, and we would have drawn a bunch of cards in the process. Well, just drawing into a bunch of lands apparently, but the Sun Titan could have grabbed our Snowland back, and then we had the On Thin Ice back online. Pretty one-sided one, a very one-sided one, so we'll play again. Sythis versus partners Rograkh and Tevesh Szat. I always forget Tevesh Szat has the partner mechanic. On Thin Ice again, and we actually have the fixed basics this time. That is... yeah, it's not good enough though. We're on the play as well, so... okay, that's looking a bit better. We've got the Sanctum Weaver back again. keep and get rid of... yeah, I'll get rid of the Primeval Bounty. We see a Wasteland taking our opponent into a Mana Vault, into a Warm Power Stone. So they've got no colours whatsoever. A Prison Term. Are we going to have to take a turn off for the Wasteland? I'd rather Wasteland their colours, to be honest. Yeah, let's go Yavimaya Cradle. We'll get out the Sythis. If they get down a coloured land, I'll go for the Wasteland. And if not, then we'll go Wasteland next turn and get rid of their Wasteland, because they're just going to get rid of a Canopy Vista. Getting rid of our commander, though, that is a Deadly Rollick. So that goes back into the command zone. Okay, and they do have the colours they need in a Marsh Flats. And that is a Jeska's Will, so they don't have the black mana for their Tevesh Szat. They do have a Fiery Confluence. That doesn't really do much. They've got Sol Ring as well. So they've got off to such a lightning fast start. I'm really hoping we can screw their colours up here. Jesus. A Khan, the Great Creator. Blowing up our land with the Wasteland, so that gets rid of that. So we'll just do the same to them. Sterling Grove for us now, so let's Wasteland their black mana. Take a turn off doing that. Should be Strip Mine in this deck actually. Strip Mine's banned in the regular 1v1 ruled games, but this is a multiplayer room against one opponent. So I should replace this with a Strip Mine, really. Alright, so taking a turn off to hopefully screw their colours. They could untap their Mana Vault, and they are doing. Nothing else to do, really, apparently. Ticking up the Khan again. Oh, and of course they managed to get themselves into another coloured source, annoyingly. So, we're probably done here. There's a Ground Seal. Yeah, they're getting the Tevesh Szat out next turn, so we stomped our opponent in the previous game. We'll stick it out and have ourselves stomped in this one. Try and catch up with a Sanctum Weaver, although I bet they've got an answer for it. So Tevesh Szat into play for the first time, sacrificing the Rograkh in order to draw 3 cards, and managing to make the coloured mana that he needs. There's a Shatter Skull at the Hammer Pass. Now a land here would be nice, but of course we don't get into a land. So that forces us to go for this. And then we can try and get into a land with Ground Seal. That does draw us a card when it enters. I just wanted to hold on to as many enchantments as possible so that we can get Sythis down and play those into Sythis. Alright, Finale of Devastation. So not doing well at all this game, although it was against a bunch of fast mana and getting lands blown up and stuff, so can't feel too bad about it. A Demonic Tutor, the great top decks keep coming from our friend here. They've played a Cabal Ritual as well, apparently. And then, what was that? A Yawgmoth's Will. Has that gone into exile? Come on, Magic Online, please try. Playing a Yawgmoth's Will so they can play stuff out of the bin now. And they play the Cabal Ritual again. So that adds 3 mana as opposed to the 5. Could play Jeska's Will for some more red mana here, and that is exactly what they're doing. They do control their commander in the Planeswalker. And that's an Ad Nauseam, which they can afford. A land and another land. Now a Death Cloud. Each player loses X life, discards X cards, sacks X creatures, and sacks X lands. Yep. So our opponent's already won here. They are empty-handed, but they've got way more mana than us, and they've got Planeswalkers in play and a means of card draw with their commander, so yeah, making some thralls. We'll play it out for a couple of turns, but our opponent's got us here. An Enlightened Shooter, not going to be much use to us. Rograkh into play again for only 2 mana thanks to the tax. Sacrificing the Rograkh to draw 3 again. And there is more mana in a Talisman, followed by a Skull Clamp, so able to clamp the thralls. We'll play into their next turn, see if they do anything that's of particular interest. We just drew into Mesa Enchantress, making thralls with the commander again. And then clamping one of the thralls, clamping 2 of the thralls, and it's another Planeswalker in Chandra, Torch of Defiance, followed by another tutor. So yeah, out of curiosity we'll see what they are going to tutor for. We might see it next turn. Animating the Skull Clamp, play at the Hall of Heliod's Generosity. Oh, and actually went for the Limit Break on, where is it? Went for the Limit Break on Tevesh Szat there, gain control of all commanders. So taking our Sythis as well as the Rograkh. Yeah, so it's a control Planeswalker sub-themed deck. A little bit similar to the Queen Marquesa deck that we play on this channel. So I'll just discard the Mesa Enchantress. I'll probably scoop after this turn. Exiling the top card with Chandra. I think they just got a Prismatic Vista from that. Clamping a Thrall, going up to 8 cards in hand. Oh, they've animated the Sol Ring as well. And then a Thoughtseize, keeping our hand empty. What is that? A Springleaf Drum. Yeah, so I'm sure they'll get the win off eventually. I'm just not going to sit here for the next 15 turns and actually wait for a win to show itself. It's a good game to my opponent. Hopefully you enjoyed these two very one-sided games. Please consider donating on Patreon as well if you are at all able to. It does make a massive difference with regards to the channel. The patrons are the ones keeping me doing this, so massive thank you to them. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.